Yeah, like a little sore from that game, but wasn't like re-injured, I'd say. But it was just enough that they decided to be smart to not uh, risk it getting worse, and it feels pretty good now. But it's nice to have the off season now to not have like a timeline in mind of needing to be back before like a season ends and the games and stuff. So to have time to just like get my mind off it and let it have its space to relax. Yeah.
Does it alter your off season at all, or what do you have
It
planned
does
for
a
it?
bit, yeah. Just as far as like needing to have like build a good foundation strength wise and pain free and resting, and then probably dictating like getting on the ice based off of that, basing off the hip feeling good and adjusting time periods of progressions the summer based off. So hopefully the experts will be able to be better at me than that on deciding everything. So yeah.
I know you haven't tasted postseason success yet in your
Mhm.
career, which is hard to think about for you. When you see guys like Bedard, Korchinski, Vlasic,
Mhm.
Nazar, do you start to kind of get a little bit of hope that the trajectory could slowly start to be on the upswing here?
Yeah. I think you always have to have hope, and that's kind of a big word that we need going forward, and to push us each day and each off season. I think to get better, and um, it's been hard. It's not easy not being in the playoffs, and then on top of that, not being very close really, and it's the silver lining is the frustration it brings can lead into fuel to use for the off season, and I think each guy would have that, um, and to hopefully keep leading into the start of next season. I think each time you have kind of like you can even call it a bit of an embarrassing season. You when you start, you go home and you get your mind away from it, which is healthy and good for a few months, and then when you come back, you get that triggering feeling again when you get back into the rink and get into exhibition games and the start of the season. And I think that's a good thing to remember the emotion, to bring into seasons past, and for us to realize it's unacceptable, to have to play for the results that we've had the last few years, and to really put that in the past and get the team back to where it was a while ago.
Let's see. When you look at the leadership group,
Mm-hmm.
yourself, Seth Jones, Foligno, Jason Davidson, I would say you guys are on the nice side of it, might agree, or
On the nice side?
on the nice side. So I'll ask you like I asked Seth. Do you need an a-hole in the group?
No, because then it could push things. It could start divide. I think too. Um, I think I'm sure they answer the same way, that like you got to have connection and bonding and trust between teammates, and if you have a guy like that that's constantly like that, then it pushes divide. You stop working together and you start working individually against with each other, and it's always good to have trust in a relationship between teammates, but that doesn't mean you have to be nice to each other all the time. And there's stuff, whether it's on the bench or in between periods, where guys can be a-holes to each other, and that's okay. And it's almost like having a brother. You're always, you know what I mean? Your relationship with your brothers is a bit of both. Is a bit of tough love and always like that deep rooted bond, that even if there's disagreement or there's accountability between each other, that you always know it's coming from a good place. And that's why I think some leaders are good. Like Nick's really good at that. If he can be hard on someone for something that we want to get out of our game, and I think everyone knows that he's coming from a really good place, and that guys want to just build and be a better team and have habits be broken that it can cause losing. So I think it's good to have that balance, and yeah, you can definitely bring the tough love times too.
Kyle's plan, like just building from within, it takes a lot of patience. And
Mm-hmm.
you've been here for years, and just sensing what you guys are saying, the patience is wearing a little bit thin and just frustrating. How do you balance that, and knowing that how he's building the team, and also you just, you guys being here and you having longer contracts that, kind of also been through what you've been through last couple seasons?
Yeah, I think like perspective is key. I think it's really easy to look at your own timeline of your career or your own don't want to say interests. Everyone has interests of winning and winning the cup and going to the playoffs, but sometimes you try to think of more when you were that age. Like I think of the first couple years I was in the league, I was in Arizona, and I probably didn't deserve to be in the league my first year. We had a building weak roster, and I was given a roster spot and had, I think my first year was just didn't feel like I even belonged, but just kept going through it and eventually broke through and learned a lot and had a lot of like tough days where I was just didn't feel, like I said, didn't feel like I belonged. And those lessons I learned then helped me a lot today. And so I think about that with our team, and I bet the older guys, and I do know the older guys on that team that I was on, that they were ticked off and they would let me know, and they weren't happy with whatever certain guys, if I was getting ice time or if certain things were happening that were causing losing or making big mistakes, because they wanted to win. They were at the end of their careers. So you understand the perspective, and I am now grateful that I had those years. And so for our young guys now, to perspective, being a little older and realizing that those are vital years, like as hard as it is to see a silver lining with some of this stuff, it's only going to breed learning and lessons that guys can take forward into winning seasons, and that each guy will be able to look back and have a bad taste of this year and last year, but hopefully look at it like there was a lot of reward and lessons learned to move forward and take into successful careers following. Yeah.
Mentioning Arizona, what are your thoughts on their relocation?
Yeah, it's hard. You feel for mainly the staff, I think there. I think players you can always adjust, and it's hard. Guys that have had longer contracts, they're having to move, but the staff that have been through a lot of tough stuff with not having owners for a while and then having them and having to move arenas and kind of roll with the punches. But you feel for them and the fans that have stayed loyal, I think, the whole time there, that obviously people look at it as not a big market, but there is a good turnout there. And for years being in Glendale and still having people drive 45 minutes to all the home games, it's still, when I was there, felt like people definitely cared, and you feel for them. Losing a team is tough, and I guess you just understand, though, that that's the business of it too. If there's not, I guess, the infrastructure, arena, and everything, that there's so much that goes into it. So you just hope that it can succeed going to Utah, or whether Arizona gets the chance to bring it back. You feel for, like I said, their staff and their fans, that hopefully they can have a team, whether it's in the near future or down the road.